Good morning, everyone. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? You know, I'll never forget the first time I heard that song. It's a long time ago. I know it was a long time ago because I had one of those big boom boxes. Remember on Jones Beach? Remember the boom boxes? Okay. That's how long ago. And I had no idea the history of the song. But I knew I was going through something. I don't even remember what it was. And I felt like this song was written for me. Right? And I was like, my God, it spoke about pain. It spoke about healing. It spoke about triumph. It spoke about faith and hope. And I'm like, this song. So I started telling all my friends. And you know, I was like, I heard this song. Back then, you know, there was no MP3s. You couldn't download it, nothing. And I kept trying to, like, describe the song. And, of course, you know, then one of my friends was like, man, that's the Black National Anthem. I'm like, what are you talking about? No, it wasn't. And they're like, and so they started to sing it, and it was that song. And I think that was the day I realized that praying or singing is like praying twice. Singing is absolutely like praying twice. Sometimes you can't get the words to pray. Sometimes the situation, you don't know how you're going to deal with it. You put a prayer in the prayer box. But I'm telling you, when you sing, it allows you to look forward. You know, there's Paul and Silas, man. And Paul was, you know, really the preacher of Christianity. You know, he's the one that kept it alive, that brought it into Greece, that brought it to Rome, that brought it through the Mediterranean. And he was beaten up and imprisoned a lot. You know, it sounded like Dr. King, right? You know, it was like Paul. And one of those times he was in prison in Acts 16, he talks about Paul and Silas were just praying and singing hymns. Praying and singing hymns. And this contains, you know, just in that. And of course what happens is there's a great earthquake. The foundation of the prison was shaken and the doors are open. Now you may not really recognize that, but if you've ever been in a prison in your mind, try singing it. Don't try and intellectualize it. Don't try and figure it out. There's some things, right, Dr. Oliver, you just got to let God figure out in our life. There's some things we can obsess about, we can text about, we can try and figure out, we can plan, we can journal, we can put the pros and the cons, we can make a budget, we can try and balance it, and it never comes out right till we let it go and let God. And so if there is a time in your life where you find yourself in a difficulty, in a challenge, in what we call is a no-win situation, you know, that's the time to sing because it's praying twice. You know, a lot of times what happens is we find ourselves in these situations and we feel like if we just complain loud enough and long enough, God will feel bad for us and fix it. You ever heard that? Come on. Maybe not for you, I know. Somebody you know needs to hear what I'm saying on this morning, right? It's just okay. You know, but I am telling you, God, you know, the complaining just deepens and depresses and brings us down. And like Dr. Oliver said, when you have a little talk with God, it changes me. You know, and that's the human way to complain. And now we can really do it well because you can complain on Facebook. And like everyone in your world can know in less than 2 seconds, you know, that y'all having a bad day. I don't want it on my wall, okay? I just, you know, I put music videos, I put, you know, stuff, but you know, so this is a way that truth students meet challenges, is to sing. And I love Charles Fillmore. You think, well you know, that's gospel music. Those African-American people, man, you know, we're a unity church. Well, let me show you what Charles Fillmore wrote. Charles Fillmore wrote over 100 years ago. Charles Fillmore is the co-founder of Unity. He wrote, "The great character molders of the race are those who write our songs." He said, I'd rather have influence over someone who writes the songs for a nation than someone who writes the laws. Because we know, lift every voice and sing. We know the whole civil rights movement. It wasn't won in the laws. It wasn't won in the courtrooms. Maybe, Brown v. Board of Education. I have my law background. Brown v. Board of Education was decided in 1954. Schools were still segregated where I lived in 1969. And I come from New York. All right? And so you think about it, it's not the law that changes consciousness. It's music. There's a guy, Charles Fillmore, he wrote in Jesus Christ Heals. Listen to this. He wrote, "The world needs a new hymnal with words of truth only and music so strong and powerful that it will penetrate the very center of our soul." Today, the world needs a new hymnal. I mean, after what I see on the news and what I hear, and we have way too many news channels available, and it's just inundating us, and they're all trying to, out-victimize each other to see who the biggest victim is to get you to buy into, their channel. And the world needs a new hymnal. And we're the people to bring it to the world. We're the people to sing a new song, a positive song, a song of love. There's a guy, him, Thomas Andrew Dorsey. And he was also born in 1899 when James Weldon Johnson was writing Lift Every Voice. Thomas Dorsey was born. And if you don't know who he is, he's the father of black gospel music. And he changed, the way church happened. And the thing to know about Thomas Dorsey is it combines Christian music and Christian praise with rhythms of jazz and blues. And to bring jazz and blues into the church in 1920 and 1930 was unheard of. His conception was a huge deviation about what was right for church. And I share this story for you because he went forward anyway, and we need to be a huge deviation about what's right in the world today. We need to stop buying into the negative conversations and the pessimism and the gloom and doom. And wherever we need to go, we need to deviate the energy of that room, that family, that relationship, that classroom, whatever it may be. I'm telling you, singing restores. And Dorsey was born in Georgia. He was the music director at a church, the Pilgrim Baptist Church in Chicago. And he was a music director in the same church from 1932 to the late 70s. So in other words, you'll get out of here, Tim, in about 50 years, all right? Okay, because Tim's 4-year anniversary is coming up this year, and you know what it is? It's Easter Sunday. And oh man, do we give thanks for our music team. And if you're visiting us, this is our music team. This is our house band. They're here every week. They're here every week singing their heart out. And if you know Thomas Dorsey, you know the song, "Take My Hand, Precious Lord." He wrote that song. And until you've heard Mahalia Jackson sing that song, I don't think you've really heard music. I mean, and he wrote another song we all know, "Peace in the Valley." And it was a hit. It's been performed by Albertina Walker, Elvis Presley. Johnny Cash sang it. I mean, and then Dorsey, he lived in Chicago, and he only died 20 years ago. He died at 93 years old. So the person that tells me, music heals our soul, extends our life, really just lifts up the vibration of who we are. I have some visitors here from Chicago today. And I don't know if you know, I never got married, but I did go on a honeymoon. Did you all know that? I skipped the marriage, but I had a great honeymoon. The pictures are all over Facebook. And it's Anna and Tony. Give it up. Just stand up. Just do a wave or something. And I'll tell you why y'all celebrating them is because, remember you sent me on that cruise last year, Remember you sent me on that cruise last year? Well, on the first night, I guess you just they assign you tables or you sit at these dinner tables. And I was on the cruise alone. I had never been on a cruise. And it was, what? Yeah, Cindy, they're from the cruise. And so the first night, I'm in this huge dining room with, God knows, 2,000 people, right? And I'm sitting there. Now, this was the Allure of the Seas. and this thing is like huge, and I'm like, oh my God. And it was like, people were everywhere, and I'm a little shy, I don't know if you noticed that, at times. I know you all think I'm this big, loud extrovert, but believe me, on the personality scale, I'm introverted all the way, and so I'm sitting at this table, right, and I was just like, they sat, Anna and Tony down. I'm like, oh God, thank you God for black people, right? I did. It was, right? Because, I'm speaking the truth in the church, right? And they must have saw this like deer in the headlights look, like, oh my God. And then they're like, oh, you're alone? And then every show, every event, every dinner, her birthday party, they just like called me up, got me out of the room. They're the ones that gave me the massage. Remember I told you about the people on the ship gave me a massage? It's Anna and Tony, man. And so, I couldn't figure out how to work out who let the dogs out into Gospel Sunday. But let me tell you, we did some singing and dancing on that cruise. We healed some demons on that cruise. All right? What stays on my cruise, in my church. Tell them how I was praying and, all right, you just, all right. And so, vibrations are more important than our words sometimes. What we vibrate in the world, old conditions that we don't want will break away in response to lifting up our vibrations. And what is music but a higher vibration? Perhaps there's someone here today, they're not satisfied with the conditions of their life, their social world, their financial life, their business world. And what I can tell you is, if you don't like something in your life today, find out what key you are thinking in. We sing in key, right? Or not, some of us, But we think in key too. And sometimes we're not thinking in the key of God. Sometimes we're really off key with our prayers. We could put the prayer in the prayer box, but then we have to vibrate and sing that. If it says, I was reading, I was thinking that, like, our thoughts absolutely, have a range. They can go from all the way from high thoughts to low thoughts. And the thoughts that we keep repeating are the ones that we reflect out into the world. And so Charles Fillmore said something wonderful. He said, probably the earth took form from the harmonious vibrations of the word. And it may be that God is singing the universe into expression this very moment. And so that's what today is all about, church. That's what today is all about. We are singing our life into expression this moment. God is singing through us. Wherever we are is the expression of God. And so I invite everyone to not let the song stay in you anymore. To sing and recognize there is a spirit called music inside all of us. It brings us all together. You know something? A lullaby is a lullaby on any continent in this world. Any race of people, a lullaby is a lullaby. And so just let's give thanks for songs of joy and peace and unity of spirit, because this is the way we lift our life up. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.